I'm Pete Scargill, and this short video is about home control automation. It's about using the power of mobile phones and low-cost electronics to automate the home. I hope you find it interesting. Back in the 1990s, there was no such thing as the Internet of Things, a phrase growing increasingly popular with the press these days, though I suspect most of them don't really know what it means. Examples may be turning lights on and off, monitoring remote controls, both via the internet. Of course, that's just the tip of the iceberg. In industry, there are millions and millions of devices which you don't even see. There might be just a little black box somewhere which are being remotely interrogated. That's the Internet of Things. Back in the 90s, two of us were looking for new ideas for our electronics company. PCs could not make sounds other than a beep at the time, and we developed a means whereby an IBM PC clone could utter sounds such as voice without any additional hardware. We called this product SoftSpeak. For some time this not only sold well but was also a lot of fun. We managed to get reviews in many of the major magazines of the time, such as Practical Electronics and some of the PC magazines. The mechanism we used is called PWM, where an inaudible square wave of the type early PCs could easily produce could be modulated to produce audio. We produced demo discs for Microsoft and Intel amongst others, but ultimately along came the PC sound card and such products were no longer of any use. Our interest went elsewhere, and one of the products we developed was a home control system called Apcon for application control. Essentially, a PC would run a set of rules acting on inputs from movement sensors, heat detectors, door and window switches, to control a whole house with everything from lighting through heating to burglar alarm control, all in one unit. The product again caught the imagination of the media in both Britain and overseas, and we managed to get some great reviews. But ultimately, the fatal flaw in the product was the need to wire everything together. A small box plugged into the PC, and from there a simple cheap telephone cable went around the house to various controller boards, taking with it the sound we developed for SoftSpeak on a slow serial connection and power, enabling us to monitor and control gadgets all over the house. At one point my own home had more than 30 units, and the PC software became so sophisticated to the point where it could preempt opening doors in the winter to keep the heat in the house at a rock steady temperature, as well as protecting us from burglars, providing automatic household lighting and more. With the increasing popularity of X10 wireless control, despite its inherent weaknesses, we moved on to other things, and the whole home control project slowly died away. Indeed, home control pretty much died away for a while, but now it's coming back. You'll see at the likes of Costco you can get a single plug in the wall mains switch which you can control from an iPhone. Well, that might be exciting for those who've never done this before, but I wanted more. In 2012 I took a personal interest in the Arduino boards, simple Atmel based control boards, well suited to amateur projects. Anyone with a PC could write, program code, but this time around we had the internet. Add-on boards for Arduino allow connections directly to the internet, but more importantly, other low-cost boards allow short-range radio to do away with those pesky wires. Of course, nothing in life is free, and the reality is that the free software libraries with many of these products weren't tested sufficiently to ensure reliable 24 hours a day operation. Indeed, some just plain didn't work, and the cost of the boards made many home control projects just not worthwhile. I spent the next year learning all about the hardware and software, and before very long, with the aid of a good friend who I used to work with on the original Apcon project, we developed our own boards and in some cases our own libraries. We've kept this as a hobby for now, and today, amongst other things, I own a holiday cottage rental business as well as having a place in Spain. Ideal testing grounds for new control systems. I've developed hardware and software to accept controls over the internet and ship information back and forth via low-cost radio networks in the building. The first example of this is in operation in Spain, where for the last 4 or 5 months an early control system has been running lighting and monitoring temperature and humidity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without incident. Meanwhile, over at Hollyberry Cottage, the heating is under the complete control of one of these devices, allowing me to keep an eye on all electric heating use and adjust remotely if needed. There are savings to be made. So, for example, if someone leaves early, leaving the cottage unoccupied for a few days, I no longer have to drive all the way over there to turn the heating down. For the remainder of this video, I'll give you a feeling for where the project is up to right now in what is working well. I've just added infrared remote control, and this is starting to turn into something with a future. It all starts with a mobile phone, where a package called Net.io allows me to create custom controls which send commands over the internet to a small box located anywhere in the world, which plugs into the internet. I would have used Wi-Fi for that, but right now the cost of implementing that outweighs the benefit. The controller features a small radio unit, the NRF24L01 radio transceiver, available for less than £2 from China. This short-range unit can talk to others of its kind in a simple network, extending the rather limited range of these units to virtually unlimited range as the signal jumps from one unit to another. The main control unit runs off mains power and can handle an additional display board to provide information on temperature, humidity and time, which is taken from the internet and therefore remains permanently accurate. And I've even included such information as dusk and dawn times, as well as summertime and wintertime. The information is used to help control lighting, for example, which can be turned on and off not just at fixed times, but say at dusk and then turned off at midnight, which is what I use one of the controls in Spain for. Just a security light that comes on at dusk and turns off at midnight. This display unit incidentally can also handle infrared controls to allow manual override of heating, for example. The slave units can detect analog incoming signals, digital signals, temperature, humidity, and not only control digital outputs but also send out PWM signals to dim lights. There's also an output for the new serial LEDs, which allow one wire to control many hundreds of full-colour high-intensity lights. A recent addition is that of infrared output, allowing the slaves to control household appliances such as TV and set-top boxes, all from commands sent from a mobile phone, perhaps thousands of miles away. Incidentally, this uses a new library for the Arduino called IRlib. If you're interested in that kind of thing, I recommend you look that up. In the process, with help from another friend, I've developed PC software to test and set up these units, again remotely over the internet. With the ability to control dozens or even hundreds of slave units with one master, and with the ever-increasing number of input and output devices, the future is bright for this system. Watch this space.